If you're an overthinker and calming your mind feels hard, you're not alone and you're in the right place. Today, I want to share a simple journaling practice I created for myself, something I call my pause button. It helps me slow down my thoughts when anxiety starts to take over. Hi, my name is Haley. Everything I share here comes from my own experience. Journaling and writing help me calm my mind, heal from anxiety, and reconnect with myself. I share this in the hope that it might help you too. With so much information, news, and social media around us, our minds are constantly overstimulated. For me, anxiety didn't start with big events. It often started with one small thought. One thought I began to analyze. And suddenly I was stuck in a loop of worry, fear, and what ifs. Thoughts coming and going is completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you for having them. But when we allow the same thought to loop endlessly, when we relive it, reshape it, and replay it, it starts to affect our emotions, our body, and our entire day. I used to live in that state for days, feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, and constantly on edge. At some point, I realized something important. This endless battle in my head was slowly draining my life, my energy, and even my relationships. I could feel it in my body. The tension in my mind turned into physical discomfort and pain. And that's when I realized, even if I can't control everything around me, I can learn to pause. These are my thoughts, these are my emotions, and I am allowed to take responsibility for my inner world. The first thing I started doing was very simple. Whenever I noticed a thought beginning to loop, I took a pen and paper and started writing. I wrote everything out, exactly as it was in my head. Putting my thoughts on paper helped me slow down. It created distance between me and the fear. My emotions stopped taking over, and my rational mind finally had space to breathe. If writing has helped you too, or if you're just starting, you can share in the comments. If you would like to try this, you can download my free digital journal from my blog or get the physical version if you want to support my small business. It includes gentle gratitude pages that guide you step by step. But on some days, the anxiety was so strong that I couldn't even write full sentences. My thoughts felt chaotic, messy, overwhelming. So I did something different. I drew a large black circle on the paper, a dark scribbled shape. I call it my black hole. Into that black circle, I poured everything that overwhelmed me. Fears, worries, words, names, fragments of thoughts. Anything that wanted to escape my mind went into that circle. I didn't try to make it pretty. I didn't try to make it logical. I just let it out. And then, around the black hole, I started writing the opposite. Comforting words, grounding reminders, positive thoughts, gentle truths, things that brought me back to safety. I have entire notebooks filled with these black holes. It might sound strange, but writing it down like this helped me release the fear instead of holding it inside. You can imagine it as the black hole swallowing your worries and giving your mind space to breathe. Sometimes I did this outside. I drew the circle in the sand, or I held a stone, spoke my fears into it, and let it go into the sea or forest. Any physical action helps. It calms your nervous system and allows your emotions to settle so clarity can return. Over time, I learned something powerful. Fear doesn't need to be fought, it needs to be acknowledged and then released. Thoughts don't have to stay in your mind forever, they are allowed to pass through. That's why I call this my pause button. When I pause, I choose not to spiral, I choose to respond instead of react. Another important part of this journey was becoming mindful about what I consume. News, social media, conversations. Protecting your mind is not weakness, it's self-respect. I know how hard this can feel. I have been there. Please don't blame yourself for anxious thoughts. Awareness is already the first step toward healing. This doesn't change overnight, but every time you choose to pause instead of panic, you move one step closer to freedom. If I could learn this, you can too. This is my journal. It has many different pages for different moments. It's a safe space, a place where thoughts, feelings, and quiet moments are allowed to exist without being judged or rushed. Every page has its own purpose. Some pages are for reflection, some are for releasing what feels heavy, some are for remembering what's good. This journal is here to guide me back to myself, to self-love, to calm, to clarity, through writing, through noticing, through slowing down. But this page, this is the one I reach for when my thoughts feel too heavy, on days when my mind is too loud to even form full sentences. I don't try to explain anything. I don't try to make sense of it. I just write. Everything goes into the circle. Fears, fragments of thoughts, names, single words, whatever is there. There is no structure here, no expectations, no pressure to do it right. And around it, I slowly begin to write something else. Positive thoughts and things around me and about me. Things that feel safe, things that bring me back into my body. For instance, I am loved, I am beautiful, I am protected. This is how I pause my mind. Not by stopping thoughts, but by letting them move through me. And once they're on paper, they lose their grip. It doesn't erase the problem, but it gives my nervous system space to breathe. And that space changes everything. When you return to this page later, you might notice something quietly powerful. The thoughts you once released here, they may not feel as heavy anymore. Some of them might even feel distant, like something you've already moved through. And even if a few still sting, you'll also see the light you chose to place beside them, the calm, the kinder thoughts. That contrast matters because it shows growth, and that kind of awareness is healing. And if a familiar anxious thought returns, that doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're human. You can always return here, to the black hole, to that circle you've already created. You've already built a safe place inside your mind. I want you to remember this. You are not your anxiety. Anxiety is something you experience, not something you are. This page isn't about fixing yourself, because you are not broken. It's about releasing what you don't need to carry anymore. Healing doesn't ask for perfection, it begins with release. So take your time. Come back to this page whenever you need. Each time you write, you create a little more space for calm, for clarity, for hope. You're doing better than you think. If this resonated with you, take a quiet moment and let it settle. You don't have to have everything figured out. One small pause is enough. If you'd like more gentle reflections, journaling practices, and moments to slow down, you're welcome to subscribe and stay here. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself.